A special welcome to Tom Keeley with the Department of Commerce and Mindy Loosely with the Chamber, who agreed to come and talk to us a little bit. This is kind of a crazy time for a lot of our businesses. And it's one of those things that you really, first, I'm representing Julianne Young, and one of the things you really wish in these situations is that you had some way to make it better. And it's such a big problem that there really isn't an easy fix. But one of the things that we can do is provide information to people in our communities so that they know where help is available, and so that the people that want to help know where they can go. So that's our purpose this evening. And we appreciate Tom for coming and talking to us about the things that the state is doing. And then Mindy will give us some little lowdown on what the Chamber of Commerce has been doing here at Blackfoot. And then we'll take a few minutes at the end just to brainstorm and see if people that are here might have some great ideas that can help our small businesses here in Dane County. So Tom's gonna start us off with like 10, 15 minutes, whatever, telling us about the state aid that is available, and then answer questions, and then we'll go to Mindy from there. Thank
Sure.
you.
Representative Young, so happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me for this evening. And I'm Tom Keeley, Director of Commerce, and I work for Governor Little, and I started when he was elected and sworn in about a year ago. So my background was always private sector until this position. In Commerce, we oversee business retention, business attraction, international trade assistance, and then we also have tourism and travel that we help promote for the state and work with local or regional tour and travel partners and stakeholders. So we've got tourism, and of course that's been hurt pretty badly with the COVID-19 issues. We also have the community development block grants. It's pretty much federal funds that we help oversee for the federal government for community grants for different projects around the state. Also with COVID-19, we've got a lot of new activities. So with the Small Business Administration having these large programs, the Payroll Protection Program is one, the PPP. The other is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, Idaho we call it. And those are two programs, most of which there's been two phases with the first one, PPP, and has come out twice now. This past week, they were granting, I think they had about $145 billion left over. It was about a $302 billion second round. So there are funds still available if businesses had not applied for those. We probably received, I don't know the exact amount of funds, but somewhere around 25,000 businesses, the last count I saw, received PPP grants or loans that could be turned into grants and forgiven if you meet certain requirements. So we had quite a few businesses that received in the first wave and then the second wave of the PPP program. Not very many businesses in Idaho got the EIDL funds. I think we only had 72 about 10 days ago, and I haven't seen an update from the SBA since then. And then with a lot of the activities that we've been doing, we're helping businesses and folks understand that there were PPP programs out there. Here we provided the different financial institutions where people could apply for these different programs. And now we're helping on our website, the Commerce website, or the rebound.idaho.gov website. We help companies with how do you fulfill the requirements of the PPP program so that the loan will be forgiven. And so there's certain criteria that you have to follow. Basically, making payroll, paying out payroll, most of the funds, up to 75%, and 25% could be used for other expenses like rent, utilities. So those two programs, we were helping businesses quite a bit over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's, you might say, slowing down. The state received $1.25 billion from the CARES Act, which was you might say, a stimulus program from the federal government to states. The minimum award for a state was 1.25 billion, so we received the minimum amount. The governor formed the Coronavirus Financial Advisory Committee about 3 weeks ago to help, and I'm on that committee as well, to help oversee how those funds could be distributed based on the cost incurred by either cities, counties, state agencies, and tribes. There's a set of criteria for that. So we've been doing that. But one of the big programs that was approved last week is to take $300 million out of that 1.25 billion and provide grants to small businesses. And that window for applying is next Monday, the 11th. And the 15th, a week from Friday, is when you have to be finished with the application. So you got all of next week to apply. The estimate there is that there'll be 30,000 grants issued at $10,000 each, roughly, for companies with first 19 employees or less, the first wave. And if there's still funds left over, or businesses that have, if there's still funds left over, then we would increase it to where the businesses with 49 employees or less would be eligible for the remaining funds. Now, this is a lot of detail, but if you went to rebound.idaho.gov, there's all the details about this program that I'm describing. With respect to counties and cities, they've already submitted what they believe their costs are that they've incurred for the COVID-19 issues, and those requests are being considered and using the funds from that 1.25 billion as well. So again, funds available to help reimburse counties and counties and cities in the state for different eligible costs that are tied to COVID-19. The other thing they did was take $2 million and allocate to Department of Purchasing or Department of Admin Purchasing, because we found that there's a real shortage of personal protective equipment, mainly sanitizer fluids, gloves, masks, those kinds of things. So now the state is helping to use their purchasing power to get those types of supplies that will in turn be available to the private sector that can't find those. So that's another item that's on the website about rebound.idaho.gov. So those are some of the support programs. There's another committee that's working now called the Idaho Rebounds to Prosperity, and that's a different committee. I also serve on that for Commerce. It's a different group of folks tied to the governor's request to a 3-stage approach. One is building confidence with the consumer and the employees in the state. So making certain that they feel comfortable and that their health is protected when they come back to work or they go out into the public. The second phase will be more stabilization and growth, and the third phase will be the promotion and marketing heavily to get back to normalcy, get back to events. So that's a whole different program, a whole different committee working again to help the state rebound after this effort. So I'm talking to you mostly about the commerce side, the economic development side, but there are a lot of activities going on with health, with the stages of reopening the state. Last Friday was the beginning of stage 1. And then in 2 weeks from now, or a week from Friday, the second stage will start and more businesses will be allowed to sort of open up. But the first wave that started last Friday, about 90% or more of the businesses in Idaho are now available or can open for business as long as they follow a certain protocol. Just social distancing, hygiene at the facilities, keeping that separation between customers, that sort of thing. So that program is going on as well, the different stages to reopen Idaho. And the last stage is, I think, the middle of June. where everything has been basically reopened. So there's a bunch of different activities, many different activities going on to protect everyone's health, but also add stimulus to the economy and have a safe reopening. But it's hard to close a state and it's hard to reopen a state. And that's what a lot of folks have been working on for the last 8 weeks, and we'll be working on for the next 2 months or longer. So I'll pause, Representative Young, if that's a good stopping point.
Okay, awesome. So let's open it up for questions from the small businesses and the folks that might be here. If you don't see how to raise your hand or unmute yourself, you can type something in the chat box if you have a question for Mr. Keeley. Anything that he can help you with in terms of being able to access the options that are available to you.
And while you're watching for those, I'll take another minute or two to talk about a meeting today with FEMA Region 10, which includes 4 states: Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And Brad Ritchie, who heads up the Office of Emergency Management for Idaho, and me representing Commerce, learned about what other states are doing to both take care of the PPE issues, take care of reopening, and also looking at stimulating our respective economies in our states. So that was pretty informative. That's a new committee that started, I think, about 2 weeks ago, again, to cover shared needs through FEMA and through HHS. 4 big areas for us in this state are PPE. We have sanitizer, masks, gloves, thermometers. The second is the community development block grants. There's some more awards coming from the federal government to help smaller communities that have been affected by COVID-19. Broadband is a big topic. We were talking earlier about your connectivity, your speed, is it interrupted? A lot of small towns and rural communities in Idaho have really difficult and major challenges with internet connection. And it's so important right now for online learning, for online, making applications for unemployment, making applications for these federal programs, telehealth. These are really serious issues, and there may be funding that we're hoping for from different sources that would allow us to expand broadband in Idaho over these next 5 to 7 months. So it's a different committee or activity that's going on as well. I missed that question about hair salons, was it? Let's look at let's see if I can find that question again. If you could read it, I'm looking here. Representative Young, can you see it? Because I can't see it on my phone.
I can see it, Tom. It says, can you explain why hair salons and restaurants aren't allowed to open in the same time frame as other businesses that never had to close? They're definitely more sanitary than Walmart, and this has been a real burden on these small businesses.
And I think they're able to close in stage 2. I'm trying to recall from my memory. I think the restaurants are this coming Friday in stage 2, and then further out, gyms and bars, I think stage 3. But I may be wrong on that. I might have to look and see if hair salons are stage 3 or stage 2. But that's, I guess you might say, the guidance that the governor was getting from the Health and Welfare and the CDC at the federal level. Those were different types of businesses that had different, you might say, considerations that they were looking at. So they did different stages of opening up different parts of the economy at different times. Where there would likely be more touching or close social interaction, those businesses are a little bit later or further out to allow time to see if our reopening has any jump in cases or if it can still be contained. Religious organizations were in stage 1, and again, they were hoping for social distancing even in places of worship as well.
Great, thank you, Tom. If somebody has some questions about accessing the help that is available for small businesses through the state, you mentioned rebound.idaho.gov as a resource.
Correct.
If they go on that website, is it pretty easy to find the information that they'd be looking for?
It is. There's if you come through that site and you look for the small business grants, there's a button on that site. You just tap that and it'll show you to go to the tax commission and how you can register a taxpayer access point. So you can even register this week to get ready to do to file the entry next Monday. It'll give you the eligibility requirements, what type of business you are, if you're a sole proprietorship, if you're an LLC, if you're a not-for-profit 501(c), a 501(c), 501(c), D, and F, I think, are the eligible ones. Or 501(c), 501(c)(3), 501(c)(6), and then there's a 501(c)(4), I believe. There's 3 different nonprofits, depending on your status, that you can check there. Also, a lot of people ask the question, well, what if I don't have any employees in my business, but I'm a sole proprietor? It gives you the explanation of a different pathway through the Department of Labor, through what's called the pandemic unemployment benefits, I believe it's what it's called. So they'll even explain that. If you think you don't qualify as a sole proprietor, there may be another pathway for grants or support.
Okay, and is there a phone number and somebody there that they can just call if they are feeling frustrated and lost in the website?
There are phone numbers there. I don't know where they go. I'm sure there's a phone number that takes you to the tax commission to help you fill that out. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't really know if I assume it works. But I can't remember if it's a tax commission. It's not to Commerce, so I'm guessing it's tax commission, because they're basically running the program. They know everyone's EIN numbers. They know how to get in touch with them to make direct deposits for the funds, or your business address to send checks to. So the tax commission is the operator of this program after the application. But it'll also tell you if you've received any funding from the PPP program or the other federal programs, you wouldn't be eligible for these grants. But if you only receive, let's say $1,000 from the EIDL when you applied, I think every applicant got $1,000 for applying, even if they didn't get a grant. You would still be eligible for $9,000 out of the $10,000 for our program in the state.
Okay. Okay, great. It looks like we have a question from Jason.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Jason, go ahead.
Hey, I was really curious if you could explain where's the constitutional basis that we have to close our businesses and then to open them after people are suffering so bad to make their money. They chose to be in business, and now someone's coming in and telling them they can't be in business, such as the hair salons and stuff like that.
I think that's a good question. I know it's been asked, and I think the governor has given response on that. So I'm not as clear on some of the constitutionality and the executive order or executive powers on that. I pretty much work in the zone of commerce and how do we get programs and benefits to companies that have been hurt or are suffering from being closed.
Well, my understanding is that they shan't be infringed upon, and so it's really concerning that we have to come to the government to save us from something that shouldn't be theirs to do.
I hear you.
Jason, for your comment, and I'm sure Mr. Keeley will take that back to Boise and share those concerns.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
I think we're all trying to get back to reopening as fast as we can and as safely as we can. And I think we'll all feel better when we get the economy going again.
Amen. All righty. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Keeley, for your willingness to come and answer questions. And we'll post this. There may be some other folks out there that will have some questions about some of the things that you have available and have been working to help small businesses with. So we just appreciate your time.
Thanks for letting me join you and inform you about some of the things we're doing. And if you have any additional questions after I leave or otherwise, just send me an email or send me a text and I'll get back to you. And thanks everybody for participating. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tom.
See you later now. Bye-bye.
All right, Mindy, you want to talk to us about some of the things the Chamber is doing?
I think I'm unmuted now. Yes, so the Chamber, of course, you know, our main focus is our businesses and small businesses, and obviously this is a really hard time for them right now. We've been trying to come up with ways that we can support them and do as much as we can to share information with them that is helpful, as he's shared, doing things to support them as far as buying gift cards and stuff. One of the things that we did from the very get-go when this all started happening was there was so much information coming out and it was hard to find. I mean, on Facebook, it was all over. And we thought our executive director, Jesse, actually came up with the idea to start a Facebook group that we called the Blackfoot Community Information Group, which was focused on being a group that any businesses could share their information on. We would share any information that we received, whether that be from the governor or anything like that. We set it up for businesses where there were so many restaurants and businesses changing their hours with what was going on, whether they were open or closed. They changed menus, which we felt was very helpful for them to be able to have it all in one place that everyone can see what's going on, what they're offering, if they're offering dine-in, well, obviously not dine-in because they couldn't at that time, but if they were changing to, you know, pick up, take out, a drive-through. So it was very, you know, helpful for it. We got a lot of feedback from the community that was very helpful as well, that they were able to support these businesses because they knew how they were operating for that time. And even now, I will say it's probably slowed down a little bit because there was just so much information at the beginning, and there still is some coming out, but it's not as crazy as it was at first. We've been trying to get the message out for businesses to use that and take advantage of it. We tried to share as much as possible that we were seeing, but really encourage businesses to use that and share any information that they have on there. It's not just for chamber members, that it is open to everybody. So anyone is welcome to use that and share information on there that they feel is beneficial for our community. Couple other things. I had to write some notes here. We also have the chamber email that goes out every Friday, and Jesse's very good at putting that together for us. We appreciate her doing that. Businesses, and this one is for our members specifically, that they can email information to her that they want sent out, that goes in our mass email that goes out every Friday. And several have taken advantage of that to put out information as well. We're also sharing information as far as the phasing plans, anything that comes out that they can apply for, you know, with the paycheck protection stuff, all those, anything that they can possibly help their businesses. We're sharing that with them as well, and getting as much information out as possible. So yeah, as a chamber, it's hard to watch this happen to our businesses. They're the life of our community. They really, I mean, we can't function without them. We appreciate them and everything that they do. And we know this is a really hard time for them. And we are doing as much as we possibly can to help them and keep business coming to them. If you don't mind, can we put Jessie on for just a second and she can share the fundraiser? It was her idea, so I want her to share that if you don't mind, if we can unmute her.
Really, Mindy, you're so kind to let me talk about this. So we just wanted to figure out a way that we could give back to the community. That is what everybody's been wanting to do. So I kind of stole the idea, but Twin Falls they were offering a fundraiser that all the profits from the t-shirts and whatever they sold would go back to the community and to the small businesses and the businesses in Blackfoot. So we partnered with Jose Martinez. We want to give him a huge thank you, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do this. But we partnered with him and we came up with the designs that we liked. We have the hashtag Blackfoot Strong or the hashtag Idaho Strong. And we offer them in t-shirts, hoodies, and also in a hat. And we are just taking the money that we receive from that, and we're purchasing gift certificates that we are giving out. Like this week is teacher appreciation as well as nurse appreciation. So we are giving gift certificates away to a nominated teacher or a nominated nurse. And so we just want things like that to be able to give back to businesses. We have a board meeting on Tuesday that our board is all going to get together, and we're going to decide how to distribute that money. We also have a thing where you can anonymously nominate somebody that you feel like is in need right now, and we will either buy them a gift certificate to a place for to get their family's teeth cleaned, or to see the eye doctor, or the grocery store and stuff. So we're not just giving back to businesses, but we also want to give back to our community members that have been affected during this time as well. So yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. It looks like there was a question on here. How far does the mass email reach? Is it Bingham County mostly? Jesse, you're probably more familiar with that. Do you know how many people that goes to?
It is mostly just Bingham County. You can sign up to receive that email. I usually every couple weeks I will post it on Facebook, and you can subscribe to receive it, or you can just send me an email to our chamber at blackfootchamber.org email, and I can get you signed up for it as well.
Yeah, it's a great resource, and to be able to get information out there from our businesses and help support them for sure. So thanks, Jesse. Another thing that we've been doing also, Jesse's also put this together. The last few weeks since this happened, we bought gift cards to several of these businesses that had to shut down or were affected, and did a giveaway on the Chamber Facebook page to help support them. So we are doing as much as we possibly can to try and put as much attention to them and pull business to them in this time. One other thing that we have been doing, I think Burke Coons is on here. He's actually the president for the chamber. He and I and a couple others did get together and have been working with the mayor and our local law enforcement, just trying to come up with other ways that we can support these businesses. One thing that we personally feel in our area is, you know, this virus is, it's dangerous, I guess, in a way you could say, but we're not seeing a lot of cases and a major outbreak here. And so a lot of us are asking the same question. Why do we have to have the same rules as these other counties that have way more cases than we do? I think it's a question everyone's asking, and that's something we've been talking about with our local government to see, is there some way we can push something to have this phasing plan on opening up, if we can have that more on a county by county basis or a region. I mean, a lot of us would like to see that, where there's not such a huge amount of cases that we're seeing here. I mean, we're seeing more of our businesses being hurt here than anyone in our hospitals being taken care of with the virus. So, you know, that's something we've also been working on. And we're still working on that. And so we're fighting for you. We are doing what we can to try and get our businesses back open. They're suffering, and it's hard to see. We are doing what we can. And if anyone has any other ideas of what we can do to help promote anything to help these businesses, we are happy to get on board and support that as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mindy. Just a quick comment, you know, as I've watched things statewide, I think one of the most important things that we can do is just show respect for the needs of the people in our community. I think one of the biggest dangers of our environment right now is that it tends to really polarize people. And so you have people that are accusing businesses of things, and businesses that are you know, private business people that are accusing the other side of things. And I think it's really important that we show respect for these businesses and for all the people around us in our communities, and just understand that we are all doing the best that we can in the situations that we are in right now. And instead of criticizing and judging and reporting, we need to be working on supporting each other in the best ways that we can to help us not only stay healthy, but also be successful and be able to pay our bills and take care of our families and do the things that really are fundamental in our own personal lives. So that's one of the things that I really feel strongly about and is part of my message.